The Green Bowl, a fantasy football trophy that will continue on for a long time, and is one that is now part of a legend due to the mysterious properties bestowed by the elders. To hold it in your possession means you were chosen for a greater purpose. You are worthy of its power, and you can harness it by drinking from its magical cup. Of course, I am from the future, George Franklin Wilkins III. I'm actually a distant relative to one of the League members in the present, and was told legends about how it could save the world in my time. The Green Bowl did eventually aid us to save the world from Obsidian's Abyssus, not without consequences. The shadows were tricked by the elders. They wanted the Green Bowl and tried to get Remember the Titans to drink an elixir that would have allowed them to break into the Master Realm to destroy the elders and the Order of Light. The elders knew of this plan and helped us to change the elixir. When the Chosen One drank this new elixir, it imprisoned Obsidian's Abyssus in your dimension, creating a new world for us. We were suddenly part of the Order of Light, but still weren't given full understanding of what just happened and how detrimental it would be if the plan failed. The elders knew the medallion of the Dream Priest could be found, but it was useless without a Dream Priest to activate it. They had already sacrificed themselves and were perceived gone in the battle against Ralu Azath. But one thing was missed that Obsidian's Abyssus found out about: the existence of Mario, a Dream Priest that was split in two by the power of the medallion. This allowed the shadows to use the dark side of Mario, named Seatak, to escape and crash into the world of the Aishi. But remember, Obsidian's Abyssus is always listening, scheming. Learning that Mario actually had elder blood meant something else. With Ralu Azath laying waste to Earth, the League members once again needed to use the Green Bowl to save the world. This time, the Chosen One was the elite Mother Tuckers. When the elite Mother Tuckers drank from the cup last, it did its job, sending Ralu Azath into the void, but it also sent Mario and everyone else into this world. The Green Bowl is still tied to Elder energy, and even though it remains dormant until the Chosen One can claim it after each use, the mysterious properties remain. Ellen Trekken felt this through the void and wanted to use the Green Bowl for its own power-hungry needs. We learned early on, as the Shadow Brigade, that items could be corrupted. Corrupted metal shards sent us through time, manipulating and fracturing worlds without us even knowing. The time travel tied us all together and created new dimensions, further aiding chaos. In this world, the shadows corrupted relics that opened portals, but the Queen of the Aishi outsmarted the shadows twice, binding the strange energies together to be a weapon. But before all this happened, dimensions and timelines were further corrupted due to the gates being opened with the help of the artifacts. People were being snatched or killed on Earth. Why? Why were the Unseelie doing this? It doesn't make sense when it comes to Ellen Trekken. Ellen Trekken only needs puppets, not an army. And of course, all these events are changing things out of our control. In my investigations on Earth, I found myself and other team members as young government agents. But that shouldn't be. While different versions of ourselves could exist, it should still be far in the future, just without the shadows coming to destroy everything. What's worse is that we were together, like the Shadow Brigade. That wouldn't make sense either. We only came together to investigate ancient files that spoke of the same anomalies we were beginning to see before the shadows took over everything. Something is wrong. Something is not right. And now with Ellen Trekken sent back to the void, the Unseelie still call to their master, which stirs in the skies. 6 League members could still be the Chosen One, and one will get the right to hold the Green Bowl and drink from its magical cup. But something tells me that the Green Bowl has more mysteries we must uncover to fully understand what is happening. I fear we don't have much time. If the timelines are corrupted and dimensions are bleeding into each other, it could only mean the end of everything.
Welcome to the quest for the Green Ball! Òrdugh Truaillidh. We have now reached the end of the regular season. Seeding and buys are set. Division titles are won. Just 6 teams remain in the hunt for the Green Ball, and there will not be a repeat champion yet again, though a few teams will be looking for their second career titles. And it was a very eventful finish to the regular season, with 2 matchups leading to the final 3 playoff spots. And this obviously included the last as the Stellar Bitches travel to take on Remember the Titans at the Golf of the Highlands with the Peaks of All title on the line. What was supposed to be a close battle turned into a beatdown as Remember the Titans ran away with the division title in a 114.94 to 73.22 win. Remember the Titans earns the 3 seed, and the Stellar Bitches pick up the 6 seed, so these teams will meet again next week in the quarterfinals, or this week, I guess. In this one, Lamar Jackson went off. 316 passing yards, 70 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 2-point conversion. The Saints defense added a touchdown, 4 sacks, and 2 fumble recoveries, allowing just 6 points. David Montgomery had 85 yards and Puka Nacua had 90 yards. The Stellar Bitches were led by Rashad White and his 135 yards and a score. Bijan Robinson added 89 yards and a touchdown, and the Dolphins defense also scored a touchdown. The highlighted player advantage went to Remember the Titans. Brandon Ayuk finished with 126 yards, though he did lose a fumble. Keenan Allen had a backup throwing to him much of the game, unfortunately, and ended up with just 68 points. Both teams do finish the regular season 8-6.
What a rush to win my 3rd game of the week of the season. I believe the second one against the Stellar Bitches. Looking back at that week 1 win, I think we both scored in the 50s, and to think that that's what made the difference in winning the division. It feels good to have won both of those games the way that I did, and now we get a rematch. So really hoping 3rd time isn't the charm for them, but I'm pretty excited. Just glad to be in the playoffs after my 1st round pick went down so early in the season with Nick Chubb. So we'll see what happens from here.
The rest of the playoff field and the consolation buys were figured out as well. Let's finish off the regular season in the best of the rest. The 2022 champion Elite Mother Tuckers hosted 2019 champion Risky Business at Cascatay, with last year's champs needing a win to continue to defend his title. In the end, it was Risky Business who would claim the number 5 seed, knocking the Elite Mother Tuckers out of the playoffs in a 97.86 to 73.04 win. Christian McCaffrey had 153 yards, and Jahmyr Gibbs finished with 82 yards and a score. Cortland Sutton had 62 yards and a touchdown, which was one of Russell Wilson's 2 scores. Joe Mixon led the way with 125 yards and a touchdown. DJ Moore had 88 yards and 2 touchdowns to lead the Elite Mother Tuckers, and Travis Etienne added 72 yards and a score. DK Metcalf finished with 52 yards and a touchdown as well. But injuries to Justin Herbert and Josh Jacobs really hurt in this one. Risky Business closes the season at 8-6. The Elite Mother Tuckers fall to 7-7, but are the number 7 seed in the consolation bracket, picking up the top consolation bye. Green Acres hosted the Siamese Dreamcats at the Bogs of Diamirach, and the Dreamcats embarrassed one of the top teams in the league, 95.42 to 55.34. Brock Purdy led the Cats with 368 passing yards and a couple of touchdowns, including a 50-plus yarder. CeeDee Lamb added 71 yards and a score, and Drake London had one of his best games with 172 yards and a 2-point conversion. Kyle Pitts also reached the end zone. Kyron Williams and Garrett Wilson were the lone bright spots for Green Acres, each having over 100 yards. Green Acres ends the season 9-5 and will be the number 2 seed. The Dreamcats close the season at 5-9 and will be the number 11 seed in the consolation bracket. Bandidos del Rio travel to the waters of Karen Crone to take on the Clash at Demon Head in a potential playoff preview, and the Clash at Demon Head won this one, 110.92 to 92.44. Josh Allen had a couple of scores. Isaiah Likely finished with 83 yards and a touchdown, and Jaden Reed had 65 yards and a score. Brandon Aubrey went off with 3 50-plus yard field goals, and the Jets defense allowed just 6 points and had 5 sacks. Raheem Mostert had 100 yards and 2 scores for Bandidos, and Deebo Samuel finished with 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both of those trade pickups are clearly Green Bowl MVP candidates. Patrick Mahomes and Chris Olave also scored. Both teams finished the season 9-5. Bandidos still earns the top overall seed in the playoffs, hoping the curse of the number 1 seed doesn't return. The Clash at Demon Head will be the number 4 seed. The Multiple Scoregasms hosted Air Jordan at the abandoned villages of Bonanock with a consolation bye on the line, and it was the Scoregasms who earned it with a 106.3 to 72.24 win. Saquon Barkley had 101 yards and 2 scores, but did lose a fumble. James Cook had 141 yards and a touchdown, and DeAndre Hopkins added 124 yards and a touchdown. The 49ers defense and kicker Jake Elliott also combined for 21 points. Dak Prescott led Air Jordan with a couple of scores. Michael Pittman added 95 yards and a 2-point conversion, and Alvin Kamara scored as well. Derrick Henry was a beast with a couple of TDs himself. The Multiple Scoregasms closed the season 7-7 and is the number 8 seed in the consolation bracket with the other bye there, while Air Jordan finished 6-8 and will be the number 9 seed. Lastly, we had a rivalry match as my Gashgia Slews hosted Loki Lebowski Thor at the foggy fields of Aslignan. With a cache of Mentats on the line, my Slews retain those Mentats in a 104.22 to 77.68 win. Justin Fields had 223 passing yards, 58 rushing yards, and 2 scores, and Austin Eckler added 100 yards and a touchdown, finally coming through. Javonte Williams collected 91 yards and a score, and George Kittle also caught a touchdown. The Browns defense had 4 sacks, 3 interceptions, and a fumble recovery. Evan Ingram had 95 yards and 2 scores for Lebowski Thor, and Devin Singletary added 65 yards and a touchdown. My Slews end up 5-9 and will be the number 10 seed in the consolation bracket. Lebowski Thor will be the 12th seed. And there you have it, a wild season where 1 game separates all 6 teams. In fact, this is the first year we haven't had a team with double-digit wins in the regular season since 2020, and just the 3rd time ever, with the other in our inaugural year in 2015. So the playoffs should be very good, with no clear top contenders. Also, there may be another first-time champion this year, obviously, but we also have 2 teams going for their 2nd career title. Remember the Titans and Risky Business, which would match former league member Meowmaster and Loki Lebowski Thor as the most all-time by 1 team. They might end up playing in the Green Bowl, too. We'll see what the craziness brings us this year. It's going to be nuts. Before you go, check out the final regular season standings. And until next time, salut.